Hail them.
Hailing frequencies open, sir.
Hailing frequencies open.
I don't know why I keep giving alien street food a chance. It's always such a gamble.
Captain, we're being hailed.
On screen.
Hello and welcome back to another Hailing Frequencies Open podcast where we continue to trek through the past and future of Star Trek. As always, I'm your host, Mike Jones, and joining me in the virtual studio, we have a small panel today. We have Miss Lenita. Say hello.
We have a small panel, but a mighty panel.
And we have Damien. Say hello.
I love this small and mighty panel. This is the three queers. May I call you queers?
I call myself a queer, so
yes.
Here we are.
Yes.
the three queer
the three
Qs.
Yes.
The three Qs.
The allies did not join us this evening.
No, the allies are
still
busy.
allies. Yes.
And we love them, but they're not here. So today we're going to talk about the very short Trek episodes that came out recently. But before we do that, I'm stealing this line from Lenita. Well, let's take a very short trek into the past and talk about our recent experience, our first collaboration with her collab. I consider it a collab with the Trexperts quiz show, which we recorded the other day. If you haven't listened to it, go over to wherever you're getting your podcast right now. Look for Trexperts quiz show. You have to put quiz in there. Otherwise, you'll get like the Inglorious Trexperts or Trexperts briefing room or whatever. The quiz
Those
show.
guys have yet to invite us. We haven't been invited by them yet.
Right.
We got to hunt them down.
So I no spoilers on who won the quiz show, but it's the 5 hosts competing against each other. And maybe we made fools of ourselves.
We made no fools of ourselves. We represented ourselves to the best of our ability with joy, laughter, and comedy.
I
and a
felt like
competitive edge.
Well, the funny thing, and I was actually telling this story the other day when we went through to we had to test the buzzers. We turned our phone, we downloaded a thing, turned our phone into buzzers. And we went through just to rehearse the buzzing to make sure that we knew how to do it and that everybody had loaded it correctly and they all worked. And it's a green button that turns red when you're locked out. And as soon as it turned red and it said, Lenita has buzzed in, your buzzer is locked, I got deeply angry. I felt an anger deep inside of me. And I said, oh no, this is not going to be good.
Competitive Damien came out and said, I will not be overbuzzed.
Usually I can be very laid back on the verge of catatonic, but when the buzzer was involved, suddenly it was a new me. So
Well, there was one point where I thought my buzzer wasn't working, and I was like, I don't think my buzzer's working.
You just weren't quick
working.
enough.
I just wasn't quick enough.
I mean, I feel like the rule should be like Jeopardy. You have to wait until the question is fully asked before you can buzz in. That's the thing about Jeopardy. If you try to click in early, it locks you out. Literally, Alex Trebek had to be done with the question before you could buzz in.
I didn't realize that.
Yes. And Davey, the host, was very kind to us all.
Yes.
Very kind.
He was lovely, and we all had such a good time. And I actually have come to find out I've listened to him on other podcasts. I listened to a podcast just the other day called All Good Things. And Davey was the guest host on that as well.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to listen to that.
Yeah. Let's feel the love. It is a saturated market. There's a lot of Star Trek podcasts out there. And I think, we're offering a unique thing, which is us.
Exactly.
Yes.
We have our very deep, knowledgeable faction of this group. We have fan host of this group. We have, friends of the pod who come on with their expertise. I feel like we have a very good mix. You don't have to be a diehard Star Trek fan to listen to us.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that there is a difference between being able to speak thoughtfully on a topic and trivia. And I
Absolutely.
think that it's just a different skill. It is a different kind of thing altogether. But I think that what it did give a little perspective in that maybe we don't know all of the answers, but like, I think we're maybe offering an alternative to like fanhood being like comic book guy from The Simpsons, who is like,
right. Well, there's no gatekeeping here. Like, we're all fans, and
everybody's welcome.
The thing about trivia is it's in the name. It's trivial. Like, it's the little trivial details that the questions are usually about. And like, it's fun, but that doesn't define any, level of fandom or expertise or anything like that. Expertise.
Or
and
love.
I think his questions were just unreasonably difficult enough to make it like that kind. It made it fun because we all got like wound up over it, and
That's
it made
true.
us. Well, I was gonna say it didn't make me funny. I was not funny. I was stupidly focused.
We're very competitive.
You were so serious, so serious. I'm telling you, it was great. It was like, okay, I equate it to like when people play pickup basketball, like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the gym, and there's the one guy in the corner who's got the headband, the wrist guards, he's got his glasses, goggles on, and he's ready. He's like,
I will beat up
you
your
get
grandma.
him in, I'm going to charge. I'm going to. That was
nobody
Damien.
likes that guy though.
No, they do, because it's funny, because it's like, dude, it's not that serious, but it's serious to you, so we're gonna let you do it.
Right. Have
you
you
were
ever
playing for
played?
the
I
Olympics.
blame the buzzer.
Have you ever played the Star Trek version of Seen It? Do you remember that game? It's like, it's a trivia game.
I do remember Seen It. It's
yeah.
They show you a scene.
Right. It came with a DVD.
Yep.
There's a Star Trek version, and I find the questions to be so easy. And some of them you have to watch the scene and they ask you a question about the scene, but some of them are just straight up trivia. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is really easy. But then the flip side is I have a Star Trek trivia book that, my God, I don't think I could answer half of those questions. Like, they're so picky and hard. Like, what is the crew quarter number of Captain Picard's room? And things like that. It's like, I don't know.
Damien?
No, I had no idea. But the one that got me was, the question was, what is the final line of the final episode of Star Trek Next Generation? And Erin buzzed in, and she said, essentially, sky's the limit.
Right.
But he was looking for like the entire like
Phrasing.
poker dealing part of that sentence as well too, which was,
that's
I think,
a lot.
may have eluded like what was nothing wild. Like, I don't know. Anyway,
I almost buzzed in with Troy's passive aggressive, "You were always welcome," but that wasn't the actual last.
Really, like, truly, like, okay, being welcome and being invited are two different things. Okay, like, oh, you were always welcome, but did anybody say we're playing tonight at 7? Show up. We'll have some Earl Grey hot for you. Like, come on, no. Always welcome.
Oh my God, I would hope that he would bring his Earl Grey to the poker game.
Absolutely.
Or at least a bottle of Chateau Picard.
I mean, was it really being brewed back then?
Well, maybe it was, because his brother ran the vineyard, right?
His brother ran the vineyard.
Okay.
And which, by the way, future episode idea, is Chateau Picard a good wine or not? I was led to believe that it was all along until season 3, where everyone is like this, the annual sour mead.
Oh, right. That's his like annual gift.
Mm-hmm.
They cook with it. No, I don't know. Okay, so I feel like we're already off topic.
We are on topic. Now we're going to the real topic.
Is the topic.
We have yet to talk about Grey's Anatomy, so
that's true.
For like that much.
Yes, we'll find our way back to it.
So a few weeks ago, I don't know, they announced that in celebration of the 50th anniversary of the animated series, Paramount was going to release some very short treks, and the trailer says that it is anything but canon. So these little short trek episodes are animated, mainly in the TAS style, the animated series style. And they're not canon. They're just for fun. And I think they have been very divisive in the fan world.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
There are 5 of them. So we'll go through each of them. And I think that's the best way. I don't want to talk about them in general without going through each one first. I think
we're going through each. We're going to do each one and listen, describe it, and then talk about it,
and then
yeah,
tear it apart.
In.
No, I'm just kidding. Right. The first one is called Skin a Cat. And it takes place on the bridge of, I think it's the Enterprise. I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because Spock is there.
Yes.
Kirk doesn't really look like Kirk for whatever
Which I
reason.
love, and doesn't really sound
Doesn't
like
sound like Kirk.
Doesn't sound like Kirk.
There's no. In fact, maybe it's not even Kirk.
It might not be Kirk. That's
but
why I'm like,
but it's Kirk-esque because of the way it plays out. I feel like the only voice that actually sounds like a voice current is Spock and
Yes.
Riker when we get to it.
Right.
Yes. Because they got a lot of the original actors to voice these characters. So Spock is Ethan Peck.
Yes.
Which, you know, seeing him in like the real TOS looking world was fun. So in Skin a Cat, Kirk or whoever he is says just offhanded, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Cut to Maress.
Y'all people skin cats.
Who's horribly offended by the statement, which that I thought that was very funny.
Yes.
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 And then we learn that the way most of these work is it's like one joke and then they just keep like writing that joke and taking it to the next level of silly and the next level of silly. So
Absolutely.
It goes from, you know, don't get your knickers in a twist, and then it cuts to a character that we've never seen before whose head is the shape of underwear or knickers.
Polka dot
She's
knickers with
offended.
ruffles.
Yeah, so then it just escalates on and on until he figures out that if he describes the like perfect woman or whatever, it'll come true because everything he says like comes true. So what do we think about this one?
This one was divisive, like within myself, because I watched it and I thought it was really funny, and what you're saying about like the same joke repeated is kind of like one of the tenets of sketch comedy. Like you start with a joke, you know, like
It's very
you think
SNL.
about SNL. It is exactly SNL. Like the family that chews their food and spits it into each other's mouths.
Right.
Like that is like a one. You've seen that, right? On SNL, it's great.
I know, because that is disgusting, and it made me want to vomit right now.
Yes.
Like,
yes. And the actors actually do it, and they, yeah.
A la Two Girls, One Cup. Ugh.
I don't know what they're actually. No, it's not poop. It's like it's food.
I'm not saying it's the same thing.
We had to go to that level already.
Yes.
We just started.
Wow.
Yes, that is where we're starting.
But that is the same joke, and then it just escalates and gets even more absurd until it goes totally over the top, and then that is like it ends on the biggest joke, right? And that is, and it was like each one gets weirder and funnier. Like, I'm a dumbass, the person with the ass for the head, like that was funny. He's like, I'm a dumbass, I screwed up, and it's a man with an ass for a head and a man with a screw for a head.
And it's like, where did you come from? Did you bring we work in water management. Did you bring that console? Like, it was funny. And then it was like, funny. I don't think there's any water here. I thought it on the lower decks, and then the panel coming off, shooting water. Do you want to rethink that? Like, it was funny. Like, I cackled out loud about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but all of the turn of phrases we use are honestly, if you think about the lexicon we have, just in general, it's offensive to someone. It came about. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Like, come on, like, really? Is there? Should there be?
So one of the things that I heard that's sort of like maybe if you watch this, if you do like a reading of this episode as a commentary on wokeism run amok.
Oh my God. Yeah, sure.
Yes. And then you're like, I don't think I like what they're trying to say here, if that is what they're trying to say.
But here's the thing. Here's the problem, okay? Is that woke in its essence is just about being educated about things around you. Right. It has been perverted into you're just trying to stifle free speech and no,
yes.
It's like,
yes,
right.
Be awake. Like,
you're right. Just be awake.
That's it. It's not. People have turned it into a dirty word, and I don't think that this episode necessarily like speaks to that. I just think it's funny that there are many of phrases where you say it and you don't think about possibly where it came from.
Yes, and you would if you were the captain of a ship wherein your communications officer was a cat,
you would maybe think about a different way.
Right. Yes, and that is not a free speech issue. That is just being like a considerate human.
Exactly.
Right.
But
it starts in a real place.
Yes, but I think it also ends in like not misogyny, but like like a small dick joke. I don't know, like where he's like, I need to imagine a woman who can solve this, and then like this whole long description, she shows up. And then it's like, well, of course it blows up because you don't let her finish talking. Which I cackled out loud. Like at the description of, and don't tell me that I'm eating children's food when I want chicken fingers and macaroni and cheese.
Right.
Like it's a very specific person that's being described and a very specific want of a person for the person being described. Like I thought it was the funniest thing ever. It made me laugh. It made me laugh so hard.
I thought it was funny. I had to be like, okay, Mike, stop taking things too seriously. Because I was like, this is funny. And then when it got really silly, I was like, what is happening? You know, I had that like, this isn't Star Trek like instinct. And then I was immediately like, okay, like calm down. It's not canon. It's silly. It's sketch comedy. But my question,
the Nickersonians are a proud people.
Right.
That sent me.
What the hell was that? So
sent me.
Yes.
Okay. Let's keep moving on then.
Okay.
Because I have an overall question, but I'll keep going. So the next one is holiday party. Does someone else want to describe this one? I didn't ask you all in advance.
I literally just watched Holiday Party. Is the annual party to commemorate first contact, and the Andorian is giving the speech but said, I don't really do this, so the Vulcans were first, so we'll let Spock take over. And then Spock is like, great, not really my thing, but I'm going to show you a bloopers reel, because what's better at a party than funny things? And his bloopers are not bloopers, because he believes that mishaps, the larger the mishap, the funnier it should be. But his mishaps are someone on a transporter only getting half of their body brought back over. Watching the horrified faces of Uhura, Nurse Chapel. No, not Nurse Chapel. Yeah, Nurse Chapel. And a couple of other folks like, no, not funny. Okay, we're going to skip to number 15. Like, it again. And then it's him being broken up with by Tahan. That was her name, right? T'Pring. Thank you. See, I was at the T. You know, crying. That is funny. No, that's not funny. Like, it just escalated into these bigger mishaps, air quotes, in this lovely visual medium. And then eventually he gets it and shows a blooper that's actually a blooper. Again, it sent me. Like, it made so much sense. I was like, these are mine. Like, I'm all about these short treks. Did I miss anything?
No, the part that I actually laughed out loud at, because the first blooper, which is the guy who's like in the transporter pad and his guts are spilling out, and he's, I was like, oh my God, like what are we watching? Like this is not even funny. But then when it's the one where T'Pring is breaking up with him, and then he says, I have several more examples. She has left me for many men. I was like, okay.
This is I was shattered.
right.
Very deadpan with a single tear.
A single tear.
I am
It's
shattered
the
by
glory
this.
tear. It's the Denzel Washington glory tear out of his eye as he's watching the tear come out of his eye on the screen.
Well, and
the
then
horrified looks.
the blooper that he ends with is someone with diarrhea rushing to the bathroom and then falling over and hitting their balls on a broom or on a mop and farting. But then he's like, oh, I understand. And then he takes the mop and is like, goes after like Hemmer. He's like, let's make a blooper right now. That's hilarious. Like Vulcans don't understand comedy. That's a great joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a hard time. I had a hard time with this one. And I think it was the transporter mishap where the guy lost his legs and all of his like intestines come pouring out, which like have
you not thought about that? Have you not thought about that? I always like transporters, like, how do you know you're getting all of them? How do you know a hand isn't going to be coming out of your forehead?
Sure.
That just made perfect sense to me.
No,
exactly.
Listener note, because this is not a visual medium, you could not see her eyes light up when I said intestines fell out.
Cartoon.
It's a cartoon.
No one got hurt.
Nobody got hurt. Yeah, but it was like I think about like I kept thinking about Lower Decks watching this because Lower Decks has been able to get away with so many inappropriate things.
Mm-hmm.
Like the very first like teaser that we see in all of Lower Decks, Boimler gets a chunk of his leg taken out by a batleth, right? And it was gross. And we saw his bone, right?
Mm-hmm.
But somehow that was okay. And to me, this transporter pad thing was like upsetting.
Well, because it was grotesque. Like it literally was like, okay, the bottom of you is gone. So what would happen if you didn't have a bottom? All of that would be outside.
It made me think of two things. An old Mad Magazine parody where there's a transporter accident and Kirk and Spock are beamed up and all their like limbs are rearranged and stuff. Like that's the joke. And so that's kind of the same joke, but then it also made me think of that moment in Star Trek: The Motion Picture when the hologram malfunctions and the people die, and that scarred me.
Oh, the transporter malfunctions. Yes.
Yeah, because they're like melting and they're like ah, and then Starfleet, do you have them? What we got back didn't live long, fortunately. Like, oh my God.
Yes. No, that was rough. I remember this.
But that's a real thing. Like someone, like, okay, in the creation of this technology, the amount of people who did not come back has to be exponential. Like there's no way it was like, oh, one or two folks. It was like, who's up now? What red shirt are we sticking in? Like,
but is that funny?
It's dark.
I mean, that's not the joke.
Okay.
The joke is that he thinks that's a blooper and it's not.
Correct. That's why it's funny, because he literally thinks that his rationale was bigger mistakes means it's funnier, like not understanding the tragic component of it, like the starship being like, no sir, like folks died,
600 souls lost or whatever.
Like, my uncle was on that ship, like
now,
not understanding the context.
Have either of you watched Avenue 5 on HBO?
No.
What's that?
Okay, it's from the same people who do Veep, and it's a near future starship sci-fi comedy.
What's it called?
It's called Avenue 5.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
You do have to watch it. It's dark comedy, and basically it's like a cruise ship in space goes off course, and they're stuck in space for a long time. And it's like the passengers start to lose their minds because
Two
they
seasons.
feel like,
don't tell me more. No. It's on my list now.
Well, there is a terrible death scene that you got to get through most of the first season, and
Okay.
it is funny as shit. And I can't now. It's pointless for me to have brought it up because I can't spoil it for you if you're going to watch
No, you
it.
can't. I am going to watch
But
it.
but when you see it, you will know exactly what I'm talking about, and it is
And I will call you.
dark, and it is gruesome, and it is funny as shit. And I'm like, and I look at that, and I'm like, why am I so upset about this transporter accident in a cartoon,
Right.
whereas this live action, like several people in a row dying horrifically, is funny to me. So
Right.
but this kind of comedy is like on a knife's edge, and
Yes.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not mad at them for trying, but this one, some of it. I have another question about these. There are obvious like Trek universe errors that you see in it
Yeah.
that you're
yeah.
like, is this on? Are they like trolling us, right?
Mhm.
Because you see Saru in the 32nd century uniform
Mhm.
with Giorgio in the 23rd century uniform, and you're like, that's the wrong uniform, and it does not take much discovery knowledge. It's like a basic knowledge of the sort of larger series of events to know that he's in the wrong uniform. And you're like, it
That's
feels
like
like too sloppy a mistake to be like,
But I don't think it's a mistake. That's what I'm
It's
saying to you.
not.
Like, I really feel like this is taking all of the Trek that we have, putting it into a hat, shaking it up, like uniform, like, I mean, like breaking it apart, uniform, ship, characters, plot lines,
yeah.
and then saying, we need 6 characters, bang, 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 bang. We
Yeah.
need 3 uniforms, bum, 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 bum. Like, and
Sure.
like building something around it. And I think that is brilliant.
But don't you also feel like some like the creator of these is like laughing to himself, watching everyone be like, "That is the wrong uniform. Saru would never."
Oh,
bring the wrong
absolutely.
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 That's the
Yes.
whole point.
Joke is
I
on
think
us.
that is the point. I think because to begin with, I thought maybe it's just their way of proving or pointing out that it's not canon. Well, I know this couldn't be canon but that's not it really. It's a way to like ruffle the feathers of the fans in a way that hopefully the fans will look at themselves and realize how silly it is. The
There
next
are some
one,
fans that are very, very serious
Right.
about it. Like, it's like, please don't take yourself so seriously. Like,
right?
it's one of the greatest shows ever created, but like, still, it's still a show.
It's still make believe.
It is very make believe. Let's be honest. Yes.
Yeah.
The next one has, I think, the most obvious version of this. It's not the real world. The episode is Worst Contact.
Whoa.
And Damien, do you want to describe this one?
Yeah, sure. So it's the Enterprise. I didn't hate them all. I actually didn't really like this one either. The Enterprise D arrives at a planet to make first contact because they have made their first warp engine.
Mm-hmm.
And Riker and Beverly and an unnamed red shirt beam down together and make first contact with these. The aliens are they're cool looking. They're not like they're a little bit reminiscent of the Telosians from The Cage, the original, right?
Yes, but
Yeah.
more fan, less brain head, more fan like. Like a
almost like garlic.
Peacock, like garlic. That's perfect.
Very animated series.
Yes, yes. And what you sort of don't necessarily pay attention is that the wall around them is like green and gooey, and so they arrive and they explain their intentions. We're here to make first contact, and then the first alien sticks his finger up his nose and pulls out a booger and reaches to shake hands, and the away team is horrified and it is a mark of cultural respect to share your boogers and to smear them on the wall. And look, she's puking now.
It was so like it was foul. I was like, this is a gross episode.
It was so gross. It was so gross. And then they're all so completely grossed out that they don't shake hands.
Right.
They don't. They were like, at least let us do our customary eyeball licking.
Their national dish or whatever
is microwaved leftover fish
in your break room.
we would
It's
love to
so
come microwave fish
specific.
in your break room. Hold on, let's give you the sauce as he snots out soft serve boogers onto a whole fish who's lost his eyeball in a dish of red sauce with chunky things in it that you have no idea what it is.
It's very gross.
And here's the thing. The reason that I actually like the episode is because I think about this too. All these first contacts always go so well.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, welcome. I mean, even if they don't go well, it's not this.
It's not that. Okay, here are the things. Here are the things that they did, I think, to whether it's to troll us or what. First of all, Riker introduces himself as the commander of the Starship Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did your microphone unplug, Damien?
Damien's
Are you
on mute
walking?
and he's moving.
Sorry, I had like a cat interruption. There's people out in the hallway.
Oh my gosh.
It's like the real life came knocking at my door, and tried to walk all over my keyboard, and so I just tried to fix the situation for a second. And of course, the teacher called on me, right? When
I was like, "What is wrong?
So.
What is happening?" So
I don't remember the question.
Great. So Riker describes himself as the commander of the Enterprise, which I guess he is.
He said commanding officer, so really that could mean that Picard was away. There's any number of reasons why Riker would be the commanding officer of the Enterprise.
Crusher calls him Bill, which she never does in the originals in TNG. Although Troy calls him Bill once, early on, because it was before the writers settled on Will. And also they're like, congratulations, you discovered warp drive. Welcome to the Federation. Like, you can now join. It's like, okay, it's not that easy to join the Federation. And then in the end, after they're grossed out, Riker whips out a phaser and like destroys their warp drive.
He doesn't destroy it. The Gorn does. And oh, look, the Gorn. Look over there. A la who is that on Drag Race? My girl. I can't think of it. It's left my head. Fact that he didn't even
like, look over there.
Yeah. But the thing is that he didn't even put the phaser away. It was literally still in his hand, which made it even funnier, where it was like, we gotta go. We have to go. No, just because you can make warp does not mean that you there are certain customs that are just
right.
Sanitary.
Well, and like they would have been observing these people for a while, probably, and you think they would have known about the boogers?
Yeah. Isn't that how it happens usually? Like,
right.
What was that one episode where they had a whole observation? I can't even remember which series it was.
Who watches the Watchers? There's a there's a lot of the sort of
and it's like
watching
proto Vulcans. That's a great episode.
One of the best.
Yeah, but worst contact. I don't know. Like, it had a couple points that in its favor, but I was not happy with it. And at this point, I was like, oh god, these are all going to be terrible.
The one that got me was the microwave fish in the break room. I mean, I like like that to me was a funny joke, but
because there is no microwave in the break room. We do not have those. We only have food replicators, so no thank you.
Oh, sure. And replicated leftover microwaved fish is not the same.
No, because it's not in the system. It hasn't been built in, hasn't been programmed. We learned that you have to program the certain food in there to be replicated. You just can't say anything.
That's true.
That was the one that made me think, because like there's plenty of gross out humor on Lower Decks that I think works. But I don't think it was the gross out humor that got me so much as like it didn't seem to come from a place of understanding Star Trek. And like I think like I get that some of like this is like maybe trolling us, if that's what they're if they're like provoking us to be like to turn into comic book guy and be like, that's not how it goes. Like a Federation officer would never do that, like, but
worst episode ever.
Yeah, thank you.
My question,
Yeah, it just didn't seem like it didn't seem to come from a place of like speaking to things that we knew or
right?
you know.
Who is this for? Like, is it for Trekkies who will get the joke, but there's no joke to get that's specific to Trekkies? Is it to introduce new people to the franchise? Because this is not I think the right way to introduce new people to the franchise, because it's going to give them a completely wrong idea of what it is. It's just interesting to me that, and I know it's totally two totally different things, but resources were put towards making these and promoting them rather than keeping season 2 of Prodigy. You know what I mean? I know they're two totally different things, but like, why did this project get the green light and Prodigy got the hook? And maybe that's an unfair question.
No, it's not. I don't think it's an unfair question. I just think that there are many ways to comment on Star Trek and what it's done, how it's changed the zeitgeist, all of the commentary of the world that we are possibly striving towards, the fact that we're not alone in this universe. I think it speaks to the fact that there are truly people who have different customs that we do not understand, right? Like, it's
right.
Just in general, like, there are people who have truly different beliefs and customs, and we may never get to the same place where we understand it, but maybe you have to respect it and be like, great for you, not great for me. You're not hurting anyone, right? But like, you believe that, I don't know, you've got to wash your hands in the blood of the fresh slaughtered chicken before you can make rice patties. I don't know, but like, I just think it speaks on a larger level to completely different cultures and peoples and the ways in which we can sort of look at that and be, maybe that's gross, but it's not gross to them. Like, you know, it's our highest custom to share your boogers, right? Like, we think the highest custom is to, I don't know, like, what is it about? Like, in England, the deepest curtsy you can have to the monarch is the highest level of respect. Like, I know I'm like sort of dumbing it down to like a base level, but
you're right. If you look at it as Earth, yeah, there's definitely cultures that are the culture shock in between, you know, different cultures. I mean, there's things that you know, like the village who like keeps their dead, and once a year they bring them out and like prop them up and like, you know, have like a day
celebrate
with them.
Exactly.
Right. Like, that seems insane to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But that's a thing for them. So yeah. I mean, I don't mean to belittle that culture either, but it's just the thing with the boogers. Like, you know, sure, you have to step back and be like, okay, what do these Starfleet people have to go through when they interact with these other species? Like, this can't be the first one that has something really nasty, you know?
Sure, but you know, it may also be sort of poking fun at the fact that when they do make first contact on Star Trek, most of the cultures that they encounter are some variation of ours.
Correct.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
it's usually some sort of commentary on things like within our own culture and within our own species. And so very rarely do they encounter people that have customs that are like disgusting to us, you know, like really actually
so
gross.
alien.
Yeah.
Who like that we would say are fully alien.
Well, the next one is Holograms All the Way Down.
Yes.
And I'll give a brief synopsis of this one. It's basically based on the final episode of Enterprise, which not all of us have seen, I think.
I mean, I know, I get I know that I could recognize what was happening. I knew,
the reference.
I know. I got the whole.
So the final episode of Enterprise,
that was great. That was great.
Is it's a weird thing that the writers did, but it's Riker running the NX-01 crew as a holodeck simulation, and it takes place within the episode Pegasus of TNG, which is, it's really weird. But So they show a scene, and then you hear like computer freeze program, and then it's Riker and Troy talking about, oh, what you watching these old adventures of the original Enterprise crew really does help me make these decisions. I'm ready to talk to Captain Picard. And then you hear another voice that says computer freeze program, and it's Quark, and like it just keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper. Like it's a little short scene, and then you hear a voice that says freeze program, and it's somebody else, and it's somebody else, and it's somebody else. And it doesn't really resolve, actually. It in the end, it's like this weird amalgamation of 4 characters fused into one body, and they're like, what is happening? Are we part of the simulation, or is this real? And then you hear freeze program, and that's the end of it. I loved this one.
Love it's
same
it was
love.
very, very weird. Like it was a mind fuck. I was what is happening, and why does it keep happening, and how many more times is it going to happen?
It was Inception.
It was Inception. Yeah,
it's Inception.
Like, you can't trust anything. Even the Prodigy people show up. Not animated particularly well. They just kind of like, it's almost like South Park animation, where they're just like, cardboard cutouts like walking in. But I was like, I thought this wasn't a part of the thing anymore, but it doesn't matter. These aren't canon. Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. It also makes me think of, like the second Moriarty episode, where it's a holodeck program within a holodeck program, and they fool him, and then he we never know. Like, are we all? Picard says it. Perhaps we're all living in a simulation in a box sitting on someone's desk.
It's fully the Matrix of like, which pill did you take, and are you actually tasting the steak, or are you eating the swill that only keeps your body alive with reports out of your head?
It's this one I think worked on multiple levels because it was silly. It was really well executed, and it had a good sci-fi premise, actually, of is the world a simulation?
Yeah, and also what was interesting is the levels that they took, like the different, every time someone said freeze program, right? There was a very specific thing that they were mentioning, like, oh, that's how so-and-so got into the war. Oh, that is how,
the Pal Moonlight reference was really, I love that.
It was just it was very specific and like sort of deep cuts, but not super deep. But like that one was like top tier.
Yeah. Well, and then I thought it was going to end with Neelix. Like all of this was, he was like, that's enough silly stories for tonight.
Right. They really faked out like that was like the explanation for it. So that was, for whatever reason, that was the one that stuck. Yeah.
Yeah. But it wasn't.
And it was a great way. It was a great just like mashup of all of the different parts of the universe too. A way to connect all of these totally disparate characters and worlds within the same universe.
We saw people from every series, right?
Every series, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, and I love that they reference the Practical Joker. Sulu references that episode of TAS, Practical Joker. Like it's just really well done.
It was smart.
It was smart.
Of them, that like I feel like this was smart, and Skin a Cat were smart in a different way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And like Worst Contact was like super, like make you think like in a different level of your brain, but like Holograms all the way down is like super smart, where it's like, okay, who would be the characters from each of the series who would be speaking on the previous scene or where it was going next.
Yeah. The final episode, Walk, Don't Run. This one just came out today as we're recording. Who wants to do a quick synopsis? We all just watched it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this was like a send up of all of them and the whole this felt like a sort of like putting a bow on the point of doing all of this. I don't know, but it was like set on the bridge of Kirk's Enterprise or the TAS Enterprise. And it's Tendi from Lower Decks, and it's almost like presented like a public service announcement or something like that.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Hello, it's Ensign Tendi from Star Trek Lower Decks, and I'm here with Scotty and Lieutenant."
It's like
Eric.
she's doing a news report. Like it's like we're touching base.
And I think it's great that it like featured heavily. I mean, it was great to see Maress again.
Yeah.
Right. So it's the Maress and Eric's the tripod. And
I have 3 legs. I'm a great runner.
I mean, those things they send me, like it's just those smart little quips of being like, yeah, okay, double entendre.
Well, and so Tendi like is like basically sort of like paying tribute to the animated series as
homage.
As
breaking the fourth wall.
Yes, and then which takes us all the way back to the first episode of the Skin a Cat, where Maress gets offended, or is it Scotty gets offended? They all do, and and then it becomes this sort of like a fight as to like essentially it's which is better, new Trek or old Trek, and at the end they decide
that's ultimately the fight.
Yeah, and then they decide it all has value. It is all the same universe. We celebrate it all.
Correct.
Well, I love that they solved their conflict by having like a jam session, a la like, you know, the Pussycat Dolls or the animated Brady Bunch series, or you know what I mean? It was very 70s. Like
it was so wild. It was literally. I was like, "Am I on acid? Like, what is that?"
And what is the music genre that Riker is? The Cardassian acid punk or like?
It's new.
Bonkers.
It was a new. Hit it, Scott. Wait, everybody, no. Like him in the saxophone, but he's not playing jazz. Like, what is happening?
Yes.
My favorite part was George Takei as Sulu going, "Oh my, oh fry, oh pie, oh my."
Oh pie, and then a pie in the face. So dumb, but so good.
This is what I mean. Sometimes you just need dumb. You just need dumb.
Yeah, it was great.
It was great. It's great.
I've seen a lot of people. Are there going to be more,
or is this it?
I think this is it.
That really felt like the last one. It felt like like we're just
hey,
here.
Y'all, relax.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of people online saying like, "Oh, finally, these last 2 were watchable. They were good." Like because they're so like, I think they're taking it too seriously. You have to like
also watchable. Like, what can you not watch for 2 minutes?
Right? Come on.
Truly, every reel is 90 seconds. It is
right.
I don't know.
And maybe
also,
someone's gonna write a think piece about how deep it actually is, and the like when the creators come out and say, actually, it was an introspection on human behavior and the ways in which we can treat. I can't wait.
A commentary on woke culture, or
I feel like we could do like a deep, serious read on all of these.
Yeah, you're right. We can.
Yeah, you really can. Like, and I think that in history, using animation to disarm people from what they're looking at are ways that you can really have deep conversations.
Yeah.
Because if it's actual human actors doing the thing, you're always like, But animation, I think, disarms people where it's like, think about Toy Story, right? Like, it is truly a commentary on growing up, loss of childhood, loss of innocence, turning pages in your life.
Disposable culture.
Yeah. Oh, it's deep.
It's super deep. Like, I still have not watched the 4th one because I sobbed so hard on the 3rd one in the theater. When I mean, the plus one was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, because you look at it and you sort of put yourself in those shoes because you can, because it's not like, oh, that's Tom Hanks. It's like, no, that's Woody, and that kid could be me. You know what I mean? And I think that that's what this is allowing people to do. Good, bad, indifferent. You can really dive deep when it's animated.
Yeah. Even the holiday party one, I mean, I think it asks us like, what is funny? Why do we laugh at the things we laugh at? Like, I think it's a Mel Brooks quote. If I stub my toe, it's a tragedy. If I fall down an open manhole, it's a comedy. You know what I mean? Like there's one is, you know what I mean? Like actual like death and dismemberment. That's the humor. You know what I mean?
Because who falls down a manhole? That's why it's like who falls down an open manhole? Like we've all stubbed our toe. We all know what that pain feels like. But manhole?
Yeah.
Well, and
Who
also,
gets, it's transported in half.
It's the tragedy plus time also, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because I actually sort of semi-related went to go see Titanic the musical, which is a parody of Titanic set to Celine Dion songs.
Yes.
Go see it. It's funny as shit. And the lead is funny, so funny as Celine Dion, like the most narcissistic Celine ever, and just like mugging funny, but like sings her face off like Celine. But on my way out, I was like, I wonder like how many years have to pass before you can make comedy about the sinking of the Titanic.
Sure.
And
I think we've made it there. Is anyone?
Well, clearly everybody's dead. All the survivors are dead. It's been 100 and more years since it sunk, and so. But then you're like, clearly, I mean, and clearly that came into play with Spock's thing, where like he made a joke about the destruction of that ship that they all watched, right?
Right.
And then, like my uncle was on that ship. It's like so clearly too soon.
Yeah, like too soon. Way too soon.
Way too soon.
But like, when is too soon? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't think we're making 9/11 jokes really currently still. And then
that's never going to happen because America doesn't like jokes about.
That's true.
Folly.
I was just thinking about this. Sorry, just a quick point.
Go for it. Yeah.
We don't make jokes about World War II and the atrocities that the Nazis did, but Hogan's Heroes was on TV like 10 years after that war.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? There was a time when we weren't, and not that it's a good thing to not like, I'm not saying that it's okay to make fun of, genocide,
Correct.
to make light of that. But it's just an interesting shift in entertainment.
In culture. Yeah. In entertainment. There's so many things that could not air today.
Yeah.
You can't have Archie Bunker on TV today.
No.
It is, but that show, no one was safe.
Right.
It really spoke to the time. I kind of love that show.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
It was great.
It was groundbreaking.
And then you get the spinoff of the Jeffersons. Like again, like it was speaking to the climate of the day. And I don't think that we're able to do that as much because everybody's got a phone and everybody's got all of the opinions and everybody's famous. So there's not like a single voice. It's like multitude of voices, but it's sort of like an echo chamber for ideas and decisions. Damien, you were going to say something. Go.
Yeah, I cut you off.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, because you were talking about Holocaust joke. And
you're like, I've got a great one.
No, I do.
I heard a terrible one. I watched a terrible one on Instagram. I was like, ooh, that's
no, this is not really so much a joke as like so a friend of Colby's and mine is sort of I guess he's a singer, dancer, actor, but more of a musician. And he plays the accordion among many other instruments, and also is well known for having the most aesthetically perfect male ass anyone has ever seen. And he is a beach thong enthusiast and has a long time permanent thong tan line. And he got called in because they were looking for actor, singer, dancers who play the accordion. And that's a short list in New York City. He got called in for a Holocaust play that involved nudity.
Oh.
And not like erotic nudity, like gas chamber nudity. And his response was, how can I be going into the gas chamber with my thong tan line. Would that not be distracting in a tragic scene like that?
That
And
he would have to use some makeup on his ass.
you would have to use some makeup on his ass. Yes. So that was. So I think about like when the Holocaust is funny, it's really never funny. But
Yeah.
No, but they call it dark humor, where it's like it's so tragic that it comes back. It has to come back around. Like,
yes. So
'Cause if
all
we-
we could think of for weeks was our friend with the hot thong tan line being marched into the gas chamber.
my God.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
Maybe
That's
we can
wild.
edit
And
that
while
out in
playing the
post. I don't know.
accordion.
No, playing the accordion. No, but that's real life. Like someone said, this is a good idea.
This is a good idea.
This is a good idea.
This is a play that should happen with. Yes.
Right. Springtime for Hitler. Like in the
Mhm.
producers.
Well, there we go. That's Holocaust humor.
Yeah.
That's Holocaust
It
humor.
is. And the joke was that it was so like they thought that it would be so bad. Like they were trying to produce a flop. So, right, like that's the
Yeah.
plot of the producers.
Correct.
But yeah, it's anyway, but the point is, yes, I think you could take a deep dive in all 5 of these and find something that is deep and thought-provoking and worthy of analysis.
Mhm.
And I don't know that they were going for that, but maybe they were.
I imagine that
I
they were.
feel like they were. I don't think
'Cause
they're
they're
just like
smart people.
throwaways. Yeah. I don't think these were like throwaways. Who wrote these? Who Ooh.
Casper Kelly. I don't know that he wrote all of them, but some of them there's a writer credited, and some of them are from the mind of Casper. Is that his name?
I don't know.
Hello, quick Googles. Let's
I
do
know.
some
I'm
fact
looking right
checking.
now. Memory Alpha, it doesn't have a very good article on this. It has a list of actors and the episodes, but there's not a production section.
Boo.
I know. Okay, let's look. Yeah, Casper Kelly. A series of promotional short films created by Casper Kelly. Oh, right. Because he
did
also
Too Many Cooks. Did you ever see
Yes.
Too Many Cooks?
Yes,
It
yes,
is if you look, if it's a YouTube, you find it on YouTube. It's a video that it's set up to be it's like the opening of an 80s or 90s sitcom, and it's a theme song.
Mhm.
And it is the joke
Second
is
thing
that
that comes up on the
it's the joke is that it's
Yeah.
endless, and that
Oh.
it is a cast of like 100 different people, and it just goes on and on and on, and it is making some pretty deep slices at that whole genre of sort of
Introducing
like
the
full
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 House.
House kind
Yeah.
of like that,
whatever
particularly
happened to predictability.
or the evening TV.
Paperboy.
Yeah,
See, I know it's sad.
I know. This is why I remember this is why we all did well on the TNG. We did not do well on the TNG quiz because it's
Some
all
people did.
it's because it's all the stuff that we like. Well, that we learned that we watched when we were 12.
Mm-hmm. Where you can where I can truly
I do not
sing
have that
every
recall
theme
track.
song.
He
Every
also
theme song of all the shows.
wrote an episode of the actual short treks. I'm just not sure which one.
Oh, interesting.
I'm looking.
Oh, this is
I'll
funny.
cut
It's
this
literally
out.
10 minutes of no, you're not. This is literally 10 minutes of them just having little short clips and then the actor like breaking the fourth wall to this is brilliant. Too Many
Yeah,
Cooks?
it's yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. I love
And
it.
it's the same thing. It's trolling you because the joke is on you
Yeah.
for watching it
For
that
watching it.
long and
Correct.
for expecting something more to happen that doesn't happen. It's just more of the same over and over and over. The joke is on you for still watching.
Love it. Love it. You know, Mike, what's interesting, you asked like who did they make these for?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think they made them root beer, to get new people into the universe. I truly think it was made for the already fans. I
Mhm.
think it was made for both the super fan, the nerdtastic fan, for the like tangential fan. Like I think that it was made for the base and not the base like Trek is Trek and the original series and
The
red
base
shirt
like
should have said-
measure from the base.
Yes. Like
Yes.
go from your lowest common denominator of like, yeah, you know,
Thank God that
really...
I made a dick joke.
I was like,
your eyes did get very big. Like,
oh.
who were like,
usually she would
you know,
get the dick joke too, but all right. Sorry.
I let it go. You know, there. You know what?
Like, it
Here's the
just
thing.
wasn't funny.
Let go of the dick.
It you know, the whole episode of you all talking about your prostate being checked by the doctor.
This is what happens when there's not a lady on the panel.
Correct.
I
I was
know.
like, wow, y'all.
It was a
really
sausage party, that episode.
It really was. I just listened to it. I was like, huh, okay, this is what we're talking about? Fine. I think that everybody could enjoy these if you are a somewhat fan of Star Trek in different degrees and levels of understanding. Because truly, like Damien, the fact you're like, did you notice that he was in the wrong uniform? It's like, yeah,
right.
That's the point. That's the point, to get you, that super fan, like, that's wrong. Why? And for me to go,
you notice that too.
I know, but I was just like, makes sense.
I actually didn't notice that he was in the wrong uniform. Isn't that terrible?
No, it just made sense. It's like, of course, everything
it's a mashup.
It's a mashup.
It's a mashup.
I mean, literally in holograms all the way down, like that shows you the mashup of the mashup. Like how can we get them all together?
And on some level, are they making fun of the animated series for like ways that it kind of maybe got things wrong here and there, or was there a larger purpose to it all?
I mean, it was supposed to be in honor of the animated series, but I think that in order, it's almost like a roast. In order to honor TAS, it could take a healthy ribbing as well, you know, like because it's not perfect. I mean, the animated series is funny. You know, they did that. They took audio from the Voyager episode Threshold and animated it in the TAS style, and that's hilarious.
That is hilarious. That was really.
They did a TNG one too, I think. The funniest is Nichelle Nichols did a film called Trek Turner, where she played a sex worker, and it's kind of a blaxploitation film. And they take audio from that film and put it with TAS animation. It is hilarious. I'm going to send you the link.
Please
please.
I'm
look that up.
Because here's the thing: is that the animated series, like, did anybody speak to why they did that? Were they like trying to break into the kids market of, you know, Saturday morning cartoons? Like, when did the animated series air?
It aired in the 70s, and it was like a Saturday morning cartoon, but they at no point they didn't actually nobody was intending to write kids content. Like, it was a cartoon, so they were putting it towards kids, but their intention was to continue writing Star Trek as Star Trek, just shorter episodes.
And they even just called it Star Trek. They didn't give it a subtitle.
Got you. So it's sort of like Adult Swim, where they're cartoons, but they're not necessarily for kids.
Well, I'm
not
sure
in the same,
NBC
not in the
comedy.
same, like.
I think that the creative team on the show was like, okay, supposedly it's for kids, but we're just going to keep doing what we're doing our way. But I think the network airing it was like intending to air a kids show.
Yeah. Got you. I mean, and that could be because when Tendi says, you know, we're standing on the shoulders of, like, your animation was a little rough and ours is amazing, and you do look at that when you look at TAS, you're like, like, you know, you don't even have whites in your eyes. Sent me. It is just black dots. Sent me.
I love that they acknowledged that.
You don't have whites in your eyes. There's dots on skin. I said, it's dots on skin.
But I love the idea too that like Tendi is paying tribute to like something else, and that she's got all those thoughts in her head. Even, you know, on some level, we all do that when we like praise someone else. we're like coming up with all the ways that we're better at the same time. Like that felt very true. That all of that stuff was like ready to like ready
It was
and
in there.
loaded.
It was ready to
Yeah.
go. She was like, say something. I will let you know about yourself. I'm gonna tell you you're great. Thank you.
Also, did we hear Tendi singing in that number in a way that
Oh
was
yeah.
Yes.
he like belted out like a few fierce lines, all right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When's
Well,
their
absolutely.
musical episode coming?
I'm all for a musical episode. I mean, we've been there. I mean, I'm all for it. Just let's make the songs. Let's not sing covers of songs. A la Grey's Anatomy, which was terrible. Absolutely terrible.
And we've reached the Grey's Anatomy section of the podcast.
The only things that we have not covered, as per usual, are Dr. Pulaski and Tasha Yar.
Neither of them came up in any of these.
No,
they sure
which is
didn't.
interesting. They missed opportunity.
easy
don't you
target.
I
think?
know, like Armis would do great in animation.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, they're yes, that is true. Could take over more than just, a single person. Take over the ship a la Tribbles.
The oil slick.
Hey, Mike Jones, you had a question in our chat of, do you want more? If so, what do you want to see? Look at me getting us back on track.
Look at you.
Yes,
she's wild card chaos. That's all. And chaos sometimes is just randomly throwing order into the mix. Yeah,
it's true. I think it's
That's
the root
amazing.
beer.
It's the root beer.
It's literally like my 5th caffeinated thing. I've had truly too much coffee today. I'm now just awake at 8 o'clock at night.
I don't think root beer is caffeinated.
and Quark hates root.
Oh, it doesn't have caffeine. Okay, then it's the sugar in the bubble.
It's the sugar.
Barks has caffeine.
Oh, Barks, because that's why I like Barks more.
Barks or what is Barks?
Barks.
BARQ.
I
You
think
don't know
it's
Barks root beer.
it's
BARQ.
usually it's distributed by Coke.
What?
What?
Barge
How do you know
root beer?
Bark.
Bark.
BARQ.
Nah,
And it's like
bruh.
it's
Has
spicier.
a little bite. Yeah.
Spicier. It's got a bite and it's got caffeine.
That is not how I pronounce that. And I've never heard that pronounced.
How do you say it?
I don't know, but I've never pronounced it.
Bark.
Nope.
Bark's got bite.
Let's be
Right.
clear. Never
Barkay.
heard that. Nope. This would be a.
You're an A&W girl?
No, I actually like fountain root beer. Like when you go to like Boylan's.
Oh.
When you go to Chopped, one of those salad places has it on tap. And you get you get the good crushed ice, the rock ice with the root beer. Top tier.
Your people are lightly Philly adjacent. Do you know a Rita's Water Race? Did you grow up on that? With that, you get a root beer
A
float
custard?
gelati,
Yeah.
the root beer water ice, and the
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like having water ice and gelato is a Philly thing, and it's delicious.
it's delicious. Mike, we've totally
Sounds-
lost control. We've gone off the rails.
Right.
with water ice.
You tried to put us back
I
on.
did it this time. Yeah, she tried to get us back.
Fair.
on. Do we
Look at
want
that.
more animation? Do we want more animation?
Do we want
Yep.
more of these very short tricks?
I
Lanita
love
does.
them. I love them. They're wild. It's wild. It's an acid trip. It's like microdosing. You're like, did I take too much? Maybe.
They're also, and I mean this kind of in a good way, forgettable. So that like
Yeah.
a year from now, I can watch them again and be like,
Like,
oh, yeah, I forgot that.
Yeah.
It's like SNL. And it's nice that they're short because sometimes sketch comedy can go on too long because
Oh,
it
sure
it's
can.
often the same joke over and over. I mean, that's
Yes.
the point.
That's the point.
I think that there's potential for more. I think that they pushed the envelope a little bit
Mhm.
here, and comedy is risk. But I'd like them to keep taking chances with it.
I agree. Now, I hate though that since Prodigy has been canceled and
Y'all are so sad about that.
Legacy, I'm actually
Yeah.
not. I'm okay. I'm okay. I mean, I like it. I've enjoyed it.
Mike
I will
Jones is
watch
not.
it,
He's
but
like, why
I
do you
know.
ain't get a
Sorry.
second season?
It's my love for Janeway. It was like basically the Janeway series.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but they could have done that better because I could not get into it. I was like, I don't care that this person is being chased by a stepdad who stole them from
The plot was a little convoluted.
a little convoluted.
The second season's going to be so much better once
Okay.
somebody buys it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Damien. You were saying.
That when we start seeing that there's shows that we're getting that are maybe not like what we asked for, maybe Starfleet Academy will be amazing. I hope but like,
Cadet School?
is cadet school. Cadet school. And we may not be getting Legacy. We don't know.
Yeah.
And so then you are like looking at like the future of the streaming industry and impact of all of the strikes, and you're like, and start like as a viewer and as a fan looking at it through this like business minded mindset to be like, is there like a finite amount of Trek to be had?
Right.
Yeah.
And if we're only going to get so much, do we want this instead? Like, is this
no?
Like, no. I don't. This does not replace having clear character development through lines,
sure,
and goals. Right, like having a 3-series arc, or a 3-act structure. Season, thank you. 3-season arc of some sort, right? Like, they're fun. I truly like the commentary. I like the mashup. I enjoyed them. I watched them twice because I was like, okay, let me go back and just. I enjoyed every one of them, even though Worst Contact was gross. Like, it viscerally grossed me out. Right? Like, I still enjoyed it because it's Star Trek. Like, more, me, the more Star Trek, the better.
Yeah. I think I feel the same way. I think that I am still in the place where I'm like, I feel like I have like borne the burden of many years without Star Trek, and the fact that we keep getting new content, even if it's not as much or what we maybe sort of came to anticipate, that everything that we get is kind of like a little gift.
Well, and they keep dangling things like the fourth Kelvin movie that came up again. I didn't really care about. I mean, I'm gonna see it, but if it happens.
But that's what I mean. You don't care, but you're like, I'm gonna see it.
But I'm gonna see it. Mike McMahon, I just read this today. It tweeted, I think, or quoted, or X'd, whatever we're calling it.
How about this? We're calling it tweeted because
it's
freaking Twitter. I don't care.
X is not a verb.
Please.
He basically said, Lower Decks is not safe. Like it could be cut at any time. Like,
and
that's
what I mean? Sad because Lower Decks is brilliant.
Yeah.
And I like what you said. It should go on like The Simpsons. There's no reason for it to ever stop.
Right.
It's brilliant. Like, it truly, I think, is the best of what Star Trek has to offer. Like, it's taken Gene Roddenberry's little seed of an idea and shot it to the moon, the proverbial moon, because they're already out in the stars. And I love the character. I love every character.
And I think it proves the point that I always try and make, is that Star Trek is about friendship. That those friendships are becoming so true and so human, and I love that they've got T'Lyn in the mix now. That they're all like that, like Tendi is like forcing this friendship with her. I think is so cute.
Forcing. We're gonna be friends.
Oh my god! And when T'Lyn says, "I have no interest in this activity," that like cut right to the core of like how many times I get invited to do all of these things that I just don't want to do. I was like, oh my god.
I saved that as
I love you, whoever you are, friend. I do not want to go bowling with you.
Right.
I don't want to do mini golf.
Nope.
I do not want
Don't
to.
want to go axe throwing.
No, I don't want to. Right.
No
I don't want
escape
to
room.
go to like a wine tasting painting club. But no,
Sure
I want
don't.
activities. No.
I
Nope.
saved that as a meme on my phone because someone like put the words, like
Yeah.
I have no interest in this. So that when someone invites Tim and I to something, I could private text that to him as my way of saying I don't want to do this.
So I'm gonna need you to send that to me because like that needs to be distributed immediately.
And I am not at liberty to reveal this, but I'm going to anyway, is that the voice actor for T'Lyn is one of Colby's dear friends from college. So
really?
yes, literally that, like he's friends with her and they have talked about it. And the fact that I think we can say this,
she's a big deal. She was in The Good Place, like
she was in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Yeah, she was.
Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Oh, yeah, I didn't watch that one. Good Place is my jam.
I think you would love Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, probably, but
because it's I like musical. I like Rachel Bloom. Is that her name?
Yeah,
big boob girl. She got a boob reduction after she had her kid. And I only know this.
Yeah, Rachel Bloom.
Rachel Bloom. Yeah. I like her. I've listened to her in other podcasts. Like just.
She's brilliant.
Yeah, and it's like all about this. There's like singing involved. It's sort of musical-esque. Yeah, it's on
they were
list.
They were Airbnb mates at a mutual friend's wedding in Idaho over the summer, and she like told him that she was going to be a regular, and then found out that I do this.
So
and
where's
swore
the
him to secrecy? Swore him to secrecy. Like you cannot. Oh my God, you cannot. I'm not allowed to talk about it. I've got an idea.
Well, now it's out, so that's fine.
Now it's out. I can say it.
Yeah,
now it's
that's
out.
fine.
But yes,
so come on over.
The upshot is, if I use that meme to get out of something, it will be that much more impactful because it is actually his friend.
Yes, that's amazing.
Yes,
that's awesome. No, I truly hope that all of the things that the people are asking for because they deserve them and everybody deserves a living wage does not negatively impact the creative process of all of the things that we hold dear and love. Because at the end of the day, how many yachts do you need?
Yeah. Right. And if it keeps AI out of the creative process,
holy hell, please.
And it keeps the creative process human, then it can only enhance the creative process and the artistic value of the product.
Absolutely. Because I love watching them as friends. Like when the fact that Boimler in one of the most recent episodes, was told like, you're on track for that promotion, buddy, as long as nothing goes wrong. And it's like, that is the, death knell of, oh, everything's going to go wrong.
Right.
And just being like, being weird with Mariner. And it's like, dumb. I'm the one who said you deserved it. Like, oh, right. Okay. What were those little squirty booger monsters? Well, they were taking the ship. They were taking the ship back to Earth to be the museum. And like the little booger aliens, they weren't boogers. It was like
they were
slime.
The macrovirus,
microvirus.
Thank you. Correct, that are big, and we're literally like sliming people.
Yes,
you can save us all. Like it's just good. Like it's.
And I love they can't get out of their own way.
No,
they literally can't get out of their own way, and that also the thing about that Boimler is the hero. Is like in the tradition because some of the bravest heroes, the bravest people are not fearless. The bravest people, we've talked about this, are terrified and persevered nonetheless.
Yes. And that's what he did.
Right.
He persevered nonetheless. And that, I think that's a lesson for. Well, this is why Star Trek is amazing because there are these little gems that can help you through your everyday life. You are free to do this thing. Okay, go through it. Go through the fear, and on the other side will be the reward that you did it, and that you can be proud of yourself for doing it.
Right. Well, Absolutely. And I think that is something that New Trek gives us. That maybe even though it is at the lives in my heart deeply, that Next Generation maybe did not, is that some of our newer heroes get to be a little bit afraid.
Oh, sure. They get to be flawed.
Mhm.
They get to be more human.
Yeah.
I mean, but think about it, like even like when we say newer Trek, like Picard allowed for those flaws and more human
Yes.
360 degrees to be present that Next Gen couldn't. It's like,
Yes.
and they were well written characters in Next Gen. Like that's
were.
not like they were, but it's a different level in Picard where it's like, no.
When in
Here is your
season one,
history.
when Deanna Troi says, "I'm not as brave as I used to be."
Yeah.
Holy shit! Like I say that out, like I literally
What?
just gave myself chills remembering it.
Yeah, I
Like
know. I literally
there's
had
something
goosebumps.
so true about it because they're never afraid of anything, and then
Yeah.
it's like your heroes like have fear and are human and
Mhm.
and have a complex relationship with their fearless past.
Right.
And
Mhm.
They have trauma and carry that trauma and live
Correct.
with it.
Correct.
You know,
'Cause
it's
the only
not
time we
and are
saw-
brave nonetheless.
And
Yes.
are brave nonetheless. Because what's interesting is like when you say about Deanna, like the only time she was ever quote unquote like afraid was when she was being attacked by something, right?
Mm.
Something was infiltrating the Betazoid part of her, like her
Mhm.
dreams while she was
It
sleeping.
happened over and over.
It was like, hello, y'all, leave this woman alone.
Right. Kevin.
Any other time, it was like, oh yeah, I'll tell you what's going on with them. Sure, I'll use my intuition in a way to help us all. So it just, I love Trek so much. This is how it always comes down to where I'm always like, I love it so much.
That's amazing. All right. Well, I think that it's that time for us to wrap up.
Okay.
But
any last thoughts?
Any
Nick
last
Jones?
thoughts? No, I mean, I think the fact that we have decided that we want more of these and want to see where they go is a nice way to end this, very short Trek, which we talked about. Let's acknowledge that we talked about these like I don't know how many times more than the content.
Oh my God, we could have watched them, all of them 10 times.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We
Which
could
is
have watched
amazing.
it. We could have watched it whilst we did this and then talked about all
Yes.
of the things.
I thought about doing a watch along, but I was like, it'll be silly. Okay.
Oh, I have one more seed to plant before we
Yeah.
wrap up. And then
Please.
I have planted it offline, but I feel like I should plant it online one more time. It's that I am advocating for the Hailing Frequencies Open crew to go to the DNI Con, the Star Trek convention that is run by Gays in Space, the queer Star Trek convention in Philadelphia in April.
But when in April? Because
The second to last weekend. I know you have things going on.
No,
Busy,
no,
busy.
don't. No, I'm not busy.
Hang on.
busy.
I'm going to look at it really quick. It is April I think it's the 19th, 20th, 21st.
That is terrible.
It's amazing.
It's amazing, but why does it have to be the weekend of my Deltaversary? And I will most likely, let's see. Oh, wait, when did you say it was? The 20?
I think it's the 20th.
The 20th?
Don't fact check me, listeners, because we are not a reliable source of information. Google it yourselves.
We have,
actual
right.
information.
No, but the
It is,
reason
I believe,
that
the weekend of April 20th.
The reason I say that is because if that's the case, then I'm in, because I'm going on our trip the next weekend.
Oh.
So this could be a reality because
And
it's in
2
Philly.
weeks before Mike's birthday, so Mike does not have birthday plans yet, we think.
No. Of course not.
And also
I can stay
on
at my parents' house.
On my cameo from Nana Visitor, she promised me whenever we meet in person, a hug. So Nana,
Oh, so this
listening.
is selfish. Oh, this is just selfish then. You just want to go get your hug. Uh-huh.
No, but I want to go with my
trip is
crew. I want
Okay.
I want
Absolutely.
you to all get hugs.
My
from
trip
her.
is
I'm
April
not going to stand there and hug her and
good.
let you all not hug her.
We need to make t-shirts and we need to have a cosplay planned.
It's multi-day, so we can have like a
Yes.
self-promotional T-shirt where we all wear our cartoon
Yes.
selves.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm sorry for dragging out. You all thought the podcast was almost over. You should have checked the time.
No. Everyone's gonna love this.
Check
They're
the
gonna because
time.
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Like you
Okay.
literally have it. It tells you exactly when this is over, so it's not a false ending.
No.
But also cosplay. Your husband is going to make me a scant. He promised it.
Yeah.
I will hold him to it.
Ooh, what could I be?
Oh, there's so many options. There's so many options.
So many options.
Could
And
I be
also,
a tribble
I
in
did-
humanoid form? I love tribbles.
I have a very hot friend who went as a male 7 of 9 to like a gay cosplay, not even I don't know, some sort of to a gay art event in a like muscly hot bodysuit and the Borg eye patch, and
That
I'm
won't
not
be
doing
me.
that because that's already been done. But like,
Okay.
there are so many good options.
No, I think I honestly, after watching that short trek of the tribbles and the doctor who, or the
Mhm.
scientist who
There's
like, I
something about
feel-
Edward.
I feel yes, I feel like that
It's so
speaks to my soul, where it's like I can have my mother just make me like get a whole bunch of like poofs and like just be covered in them and just have my little face out, like, you know, a single eye and this out. Like, what is she?
A mountain of
a mountain of tribbles.
tribbles.
Gasping for air, buried in tribbles.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
Okay,
Well,
Damien,
you
we may be
could
doing it.
you could be, you know, there's that one guy with like the tribble vacuum cleaner on in that episode.
Oh
my god.
I could, I mean, from the place of our work, you know, they probably have some broken backpack vacs that I could then turn into that. And
Right.
boop, 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 boop. I mean, that would be great. Okay.
See,
Yep.
the
I'm-
Lanita has the credibility or the stature in our place of work that I do not, where she can obtain shit that I cannot. Oh, she's gone. She's gone. She muted her. She's silent, laughing. Okay. Anyway.
Or cackling. It's true.
Yeah, she's
Sounds
like,
Okay,
cool.
Mike Jones, you can do it. You can
Okay.
you can cut us off.
Alrighty then. Thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Leave us a review wherever you got it. And shoot us a text or a text. I'm not going to give you my number. Shoot us a tweet
give you
or
Lanita's
a message. You can find
we'll
us
give you
on
Ben and Aaron's numbers.
right, exactly, right. You can find us at Hailing Freak Open, that's FREQ, or at hailingfrequenciesopen.com. And until next time, Hailing Frequencies closed.